she's not coming in. Good idea. They are. Okay, Council, we'll call our meeting to order, and we'll start with a moment of silence as usual, to pray or as you wish. And please keep in mind, especially the people in Central Texas with the terrible losses of life. Thank you. We have a land acknowledgement. So I acknowledge that we're on the ancestral lands of the Mi'kmaq people, and we thank the Mi'kmaq people of today for their ancestors being so good to share these beautiful lands here in Pictou County with our ancestors, whether they came 400 years ago or 4 years ago. We are all treaty people. So we'll start off. We need a motion to approve the agenda. Okay. Moved and seconded. Are there any questions on that motion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carried. Are there any emergency resolutions this evening? Don't see any hands, so we'll skip by that one. And we have our minutes from June the 2nd, our last monthly meeting. Are there any errors, omissions, or corrections to those minutes? Any errors, omissions, or corrections to the minutes? One last time, any errors, omissions, or corrections to the June 2nd meeting? Okay, we'll declare those minutes the true record of that meeting. Now, we have several pieces of correspondence, some that are quite important to this council, or will be over the next short time. I do want to go through them one by one and see if people have comments. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Is it on?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, it's just not showing through that. Get it over closer, that's it. All right. So there was a letter, a thank you letter from Pictou Academy for the graduation bursary. And then, but there is a letter from the Nova Scotia Department of Municipal Affairs regarding our municipal planning strategy and land use bylaw. And so everybody's had a chance to read that, but it means that it's not automatically through. It has to go to the minister. And the holdup is to do with agriculture, and that we're not protecting the agricultural land enough. And that is serious in this county because that is where we went off the tracks last time. And it was attempted in some other counties, and we appear to be the next one. But what it means is that agricultural land will be only able to be sold as agricultural land. And then how much you class as agriculture and what you don't. But many farmers in this county and in other counties have put, farmers have put all their money into their farm. They didn't put any money into a pension plan or any money into savings account. Everything, in order to survive on a farm, everything goes into the farm. And so all along they've been able to sell their farm at market price. But if this goes the way that I think the government wants it to go, maybe, it could be that they're only allowed to sell as agricultural land, which is a good thing from the point of view of maintaining agricultural land, but it doesn't allow the farmer a fair return on his investment that he's put in for his whole life. So it could be quite contentious in this county, I think. But I just wanted to, does anybody have any comments on that one as we're going through here? Go ahead, Chester.
I just want to bring up just exactly what you said. Usually at the end, when farmers are near done, they got children or grandchildren and they sell some lots off, place for them to live, et cetera, et cetera. So there's quite a few pieces of land that I bought that was farmland, and if it doesn't make any sense to me how the government can say, well, it has to be sold only for farmland, and if there's no farmers around you, what are they gonna, what's the situation? You should sell it for whatever you can get out of it, because we looked after it all these years, so we had to pay for it in the first place, and some of that land is still appraised about the same as what it was appraised at 15 years ago on farmland. And it's a funny thing, some places farmland's worth nothing, and other places farmland's worth terrific money. It all depends on who's looking out for you, I guess. But anyway, that's just a continuation of what you said there. Thank you.
Okay, go ahead. Who am I looking at? Oh, no, you go ahead. I was just looking around to see if there's anybody else. Or, no,
Well,
Wayne is, oh, sorry.
sorry.
I wasn't looking close enough. I was
didn't
looking
push my
down that way.
button,
All
sorry.
right.
I just don't want council to jump to conclusions that it might not pass, because the minister might just say it's all the way it is. And our CEO has reached out to the Municipal Affairs and asked for, if something we have to do, that we would ask for a year's grace to do it in. So that'll give us time to have some things. So I just want people to be cautious that it could go through the way it is. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Councillor Bailey.
Thank you, Warden. I was always under the understanding that anything in any zone that they always could come back to council and ask to get rezoned. If somebody wanted to sell their farm as cottage land or subdivide it, can they not come in and ask to be council to rezone them?
That's where this could become dicey, in that the minister could impose a regulation that says you can't do that, right? Or that council, through this process, puts a level of protection on that's not allowed anymore. That's what the protection of agricultural land is intended to somewhat do. Just to follow up on what Deputy Warden Murray said, the plan in its entirety is likely to be approved. The one thing they did come back and say, you did a tremendous amount of work on your plan. It is a good plan, with the exception of there's not enough around agricultural. So what could happen, one of the options is that the minister just approves it as is, or the minister will approve the plan, but there will be a new section added under the ministerial direction that says council must undertake a process. And the initial that came back from Municipal Affairs was 6 months, and I wrote back and said, yeah, that's not going to happen in 6 months. Like, you can't do an MPS amendment, especially on something like this where you're going to want to engage your community. So a minimum, we would probably require a year, plus the minister's 60 days is up end of July, first part of August. So you're smack dab in the middle of summer. So you're not going to start a community engagement in the summer. So so that's what could come back, the plan be approved. However, there's a new policy inserted, as the minister has the right to do, compelling the municipality that they will undertake a complete review of agricultural protection. So that's probably what's going to happen. But as the deputy warden says, it could go the other way. The minister could sign off on it and just say, no, we're good.
But the reason I bring it up is that I think the farming community here in Pictou County needs to know that this is a possibility. And we have to be prepared for that. We would have to have certainly public meetings and whatnot, but this has been tried across the province for the last 40 years. You know, I know a gentleman in Salt Springs that was part of doing a study on how do you save your farmland without doing harm to the people who farmed it all these years. And they haven't found a solution yet, because it involves a lot of money if they did. And, you know, we just need to be prepared. That's why I want to highlight tonight that it could be a problem. Hopefully, as the deputy warden said, or our CEO, it may just go through and not be a problem, but we need to be ready for it, I think. So, go ahead, sorry, Peter, didn't see yours, and I got Darla there too.
I was just wondering, how are they gonna, like, where I live, say, it was a farm for years and years and years. Then now, it's been spotted up, there's lots, but there's still a lot of lots there that are vacant. Could they make that saying it's farmland, or we're all right because now it has been used as farms for years?
Yeah, there's probably some different approaches that you would take to it. One that you could look at is the soil types, but even the department says that might be too broad, that you probably want to narrow it down to what is currently being potentially farmed, right? So, so there's different approaches. So we'd have to study to see exactly what you're saying. If it hasn't been farmed for 30 years, is it a farm? Right? So we'd have to look at that, at what the existing lay of the land is, right? So that's part off why I think you need a good year to do that, right? You have to have factual information.
Okay, Councillor McKeel.
I think Councillor Wadden was.
Oh, okay, I wasn't sure, but go ahead then, Councillor Wadden.
Thank you. I just want to clarify, like, Brian, you said that if we come back with the year that we have to work on getting the agricultural land, would we still be covered by what we do now, or would we be restricted to how we could handle the agricultural lands in that year?
So in essence, I think what would happen is the plan is approved. So it would be fine during
Okay.
that year, unless the language is specific that you can't do it. But I think it would be during that period, it would fall under the approved plan. But you are, in essence, working towards an amendment to your MPS and LUB.
Okay, and Councillor McKeel.
Thank you very much, Mr. Warden. I would agree that I think this, I guess with a few opinions around the table, that this is a little bit of an overreach and telling how farmers what they can do with their land, especially upon retirement, or if they want to subdivide. I think it's a bit of an overreach. My question is, I think you had mentioned that they did this to another municipality, and there was another municipality that also had this issue. Has this been something that other municipalities, I guess my question is, has this been something that other municipalities have dealt with during this process? And if so, how are they resolving it?
The one that I'm aware of is East Hants, and kind of all hell broke out there, and they had to sort of back off and start over again. I don't know if it's the exact same as this, or if they were putting something in that they got a lot of feedback on, or was it the minister telling them to? I'm not sure which way it started, but there was a lot of public feedback for sure. Whenever you start talking about, and that's why we said we want to go light from day one, whenever you start talking about telling people what they can or cannot do in terms of the sale of their land, you run into a lot of feedback for sure. But that's the only other one I'm aware of, but I know it has been. The province as a whole has attempted to do it, and that's really the way it has to happen. If it's ever going to happen, not municipality by municipality. They have attempted that. Kings County is the only county where they successfully controlled agricultural land to some degree, and it's mostly because agricultural land became worth as much money as it did for development. The land is worth so much down there for agriculture that, you know, whether you sell it to another farmer for agriculture or sell it for development, it'll be almost the same.
I think that's the issue, though. I think it would make more sense in a rich area like we talked about the soil numbers. Mm-hmm. And I think that makes a lot more sense for an area like the Annapolis Valley. But I think it's a bit of an overreach, especially here. Thank you, Mr. Warden.
Okay, we'll move along. There's other important letters there. One is from physicians to do with health concerns from uranium mining. I've attended a couple of meetings on the uranium mining, and seems to have sort of, that one to died down a bit now, where there was no interest showed by the companies, but a lot of people are still concerned that it may take place, but I think we did debate that one pretty well the other night. The next one could have will have a lot more effect on us here in this county, is from the Justice Minister regarding the outcome of the Comprehensive Policing Review. So we don't know all the facts on that one by far yet, but it appears it may affect our Police Advisory Board here, that there may be a new type of advisory board, and I haven't had a chance, and neither Brian or Wayne, maybe Wayne had a chance to read it all through, did you, Wayne? Yeah, so he'll be able to answer all the questions. No, there's a number of things that are going to affect us for sure, and the Minister of Justice, Becky Druin, I guess it is, has said that she wants to meet with us over the next few months to see what our opinion is, and all the rest of the municipalities around the province. It has a tremendous effect on some of the towns here in the county and other towns that have municipal police forces for sure, but it's the RCMP that it appears are going to remain to be, the main provincial police force, and but there will be considerable changes. We don't know those. Some of those are going to affect us financially for sure. Right now, we pay about $4.6 million per year. That's in the budget tonight for police services. They certainly say in their letter that they're going to help out financially for some of these changes. So we hope that in the end of the day that we're not going to be paying more than we are now, but that remains to be seen. So are there any questions or concerns on that letter? There's a lot that's unknown right now. Go ahead, Councillor Wadden.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The concern I have is, right now, we don't have any control over we don't know how many RCMP officers are working at any given time. And I was speaking to one a couple of weeks ago, and on a shift of 5, they had 2 working. And I just don't know how they can maintain the service with such small staff. But at the same time, we're paying for the officers. So I get really concerned that we'll be even further away from any kind of control we have with what kind of policing we get. I mean, I'm hoping that it works out better, but that is a concern I have right now with them.
And that is one that's been brought up with the RCMP several times, that sometimes you can be paying for 22 or 23 and getting 17. And they've addressed that sometimes, I know, at the Police Advisory Council, but there's only so many things they can do about it if people are off for different reasons, I guess. But we'll have to kind of follow this as it goes along and get our input in there, and hopefully make sure that that this council still has, we've had some, communication through the Police Advisory Board. If that disappears or becomes watered down some, that may have an effect on how much say we have. And the other one, I don't see any lights on. The other one was the letter from the Municipality of Digby regarding road safety and insufficient funding. Well, that's been a concern forever, just about everywhere, I think, when it comes to roads. But they're just letting us know what they sent in. I think they're not asking us to echo what they're saying, but I think there is something coming up on roads later on our agenda here this evening, so we might be able to discuss it more fully then. Okay, so that's the correspondence for tonight. Now we have a presentation, and the Pictou County Creative, Carissa Ansley, is that the right pronunciation? Yeah. Ainsley, is with us, and she's heavily involved with the Creative Pictou County, who now have a home of their own. Yes. In at the new library in Pictou. So welcome, Carissa, and you go ahead and give us your presentation. You got about 10 minutes, okay. And then as much time as we need for questions.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. And thank you for giving me time to speak tonight. So I am the Executive Director of Creative Pictou County, the first Executive Director, which is really quite exciting. And we've been around for just over 10 years, and over that time we've had paid staff on a 1-year contract basis. So you know, not all has been done, but since I've started, we've definitely seen a lot of gains. I've been able to do a lot of strategic partnerships and engagements in the community. And of course, as you mentioned, the studio space and office in the new DeCoste has really elevated us in the community as well and given us a home that we can kind of work out of. Before we were kind of in the ether, working from home or out of Ignite in Glasgow. So really happy to be in the town of Pictou. And we also recently have added a new mandate pillar related to arts and wellness. So really looking at Creative Pictou County and what we can do for the community. Historically, we've obviously supported artists in many different ways, exposing their work to different opportunities in the community, you know, creating a sustainable nonprofit, economic development, which is a really big piece for us as we want to remain an organization, and I would love to still get paid. So that's a really big piece for us, but definitely the arts and wellness is a new venture for us, and so we're looking at different ways of advocating for arts and wellness in the community, not only for artists, but the folks who live here and visit here as well. So we have a number of really exciting projects coming up, and that's really, you know, what I've been doing the last several months is going around introducing and reintroducing our organization to the different town councils. So very happy to meet you all this evening. And so this is actually starting next week. We're doing an artist in residence program out of the studio space. And so we have this artist coming up from Halifax, Carly Mullally, who have had their work shown around the province as well as the rest of the country. And so Carly will be working in the studio space next week. We'll be posting the open studio hours soon, but essentially they'll be working in that space and inviting folks to come by and really engage with their process. And especially having that lovely garage door in the studio, weather dependent, we'll have that rolled up and it'll really, you know, bring folks in. We did an event in the studio a couple of months ago and the weather was really nice. So we rolled it up. Someone was spinning some wool by the door, and people kind of came over and were like, hey, what's going on with that? So I think that's going to be a fantastic addition to the community. We're also doing a summer music series, partnering with East Coast DNA in the town of Trenton, and really activating their amphitheater space. That was something that they asked for during their presentation, was a help activating that space. So really excited to be presenting this. Last year we did a summer reading series and engaged a number of authors in the community to read their work, and we went all across the community as well with that. And it was a really great way to engage folks in the summertime. And this is one of my personal favorite things that I loving to do about this job is curating the spaces in the new DeCoste. So there are 4 gallery spaces now in the DeCoste. Hoping to rebrand them to be a little sexier, but right now it's the theater gallery, the small gallery, the micro gallery, and the Murray Room gallery. And that's been a lot of fun to really engage with different arts in the community. We've had folks applying for our group shows as far away as Halifax and the South Shore. We also have a current show, it'll be kind of in a slide shortly, but in the Murray Room, which is a quite long gallery wall, I'm sure you've been in there. And so it features work from the 3 arts councils on the North Shore, folks from Antigonish, some of our members, as well as folks from Tadmagush, the Northumberland Regional Arts Council. And so that's really quite exciting and really shows the value of partnership and working together with other folks. So this has been really fun personally for me to kind of curate some of these pieces, and both solo and group shows as well. And so this is the show I mentioned. So it's called Rising Tide, and it's on until the early September. And really to take advantage for the folks coming through that space this summer, especially with the Ship Hector launch, there's gonna be a lot of folks bopping around the DeCoste. So I figured what a great way to show all the artists we have in the area. So this is a really exciting project that we have in 2 parts. So Artistry in Action. So we had our first one in March, and so we invited artists to come out of different mediums and basically pop up a studio in the venue. The first one was the Museum of Industry, and they essentially just worked on their art in that space, and folks came by and got to ask them questions. There was no monetary pressure, they weren't selling anything, but it was a really great way for folks to kind of get a sneak peek into what goes into a piece of art. We also had a couple of local art collectives. There's a lot of medium-specific art collectives in Pictou County, so we had the Rug Hooking Guild of Nova Scotia there. Snaps Local Photo Collective, Art at Night was there, and we also had a musician playing. So we'll be doing this again in September at the Pictou Landing First Nations School, and we'll have a whole new set of artists and different groups to engage. And that was a fully funded project by the Community Culture, Tourism and Heritage. And this project is currently in progress. So this is funded by Arts Nova Scotia. And we're really excited about this project because it's working in partnership with the Pictou County Partnership and their newcomer initiatives. So it pairs 5 local artists with 5 newcomers and 5 newcomer artists with 5 local elders. And essentially the artists in the pairings are going to create a piece of art based on the story of their non-artist counterpart. And so it's a really great way for newcomers to meet new community members, you know, on both sides, as well as grow their portfolios if they're a newcomer artist, you know, really growing their portfolio for future endeavors. And it's been really, really exciting. We've had, we've got a quilter, a rug hooker, a photographer, painter, a couple of illustrators working on this project. So the showcases will be this fall during Culture Days, and that'll be a really fantastic way to not only show the work, but also bring folks out and to really see the power of communicating and connection with folks who are from different places. So I'm really excited about this project. And we just had this about a month ago. So this was Becoming a Film Town. This is our second economic development forum for artists. Last year we did Becoming an Art Town. And so this was a really fun event. It was a lot of work, but it was a lot of fun. And I think very timely as well, certainly with the provincial tax cuts for any production happening further away from HRM. And there was a lot of folks who really wanted to support the film industry in Pictou County. This could be a huge economic development piece for the region, and really providing supports for, you know, a creative medium, but also, you know, the economic development as well for the region. So a few things in the works that are not confirmed yet, but we're working on a youth film program, a few different workshops, more professional development for artists, critique sessions, which I went to art school and they are very helpful for artists who are working on a project. It gives them a chance to kind of talk about what they're doing and also get some immediate feedback from folks, and also developing more of an artist in residence program as well. And also the importance of documenting your artwork, you know, having a really strong portfolio on your website or social media so you can continue to have opportunities come to you. And so this is just a couple of slides here of things that we're doing in the studio. So this is a partnership with Sisterhood Fibers out of Tabnakush. And so the first Tuesday of every month is hosting a Sisterhood Circle. And so this was what I mentioned, the person spinning, this is Faith from Sisterhood Fibers. So really inviting folks who are in the fiber world to come out and really engage together. It's on a bit of a hiatus for the summer, but we'll be starting up in October. And for March, we did a March break workshop with some kids. This is a stop motion workshop. So the work that was actually created during this workshop was launched at our film event in June. So on the Saturday, they had their big debut, and it was a lot of fun. We also have done intro to drawing. So, you know, engaging with different artists to teach their practice in this space has been really exciting as well. And, you know, different socials and things like that as well. So looking back at 2024 was a huge year for us. That was, you know, the first year I kind of was engaged in my position, and we had tremendous growth, and especially in relation to Culture Days. We engaged with the Multicultural Association with their Fusion Festival. We received funding from Heritage Canada. For that endeavor, we had free workshops for the public, as well as an artisan market. And we had a fully funded project which included free professional development workshops for artists. We engaged with Craft Nova Scotia as well. So they, you know, brought their programming here to the county. So really that's what I've been trying to do in my tenure, is bring in those provincial organizations that mostly work out of HRM into Pictou County and really showing folks that this is a place to be and a cultural hub. So last year, we paid over $12,000 to artists, and already this year we're at that point. So we're definitely going to exceed that for 2025. We had 2,500 people engaged, and again, those are guesstimates, so I think probably more than that. And we also did 30 plus events, which I think it's actually more like 40. When I went to write our operational grant, they always ask us, to look at our previous applications and the previous year. And so I went to look at last year's application. So for 2023, we only did about 12 events in the community. So huge growth in just a year in terms of the events that we organized and were a part of. So we're already surpassing that, absolutely. And this is kind of one of our more special achievements. So last year we ranked 9th in the small municipalities category for Culture Days, and that's a Canada-wide endeavor that happens for 4 weeks in the fall. And we were the only community in Atlantic Canada to do so. So really engaging with Culture Days has been quite fun. I had to go all the way to the top because there is no Atlantic contingent out here, so I had to go all the way to their ED and chat with them. But they've done a number of special highlights on our community, which has been really fantastic. And I actually attended their info session for this year, and we were on the slideshow for that, which is really exciting. So this was a variety of things that we did, but also listings from the community were on there as well. So we had 19 events, and I'm hoping to definitely exceed that and rank a bit higher. I'm not competitive at all, but yeah, we're gonna try to rank a bit higher this year. So that's basically all I have to say. Again, thank you so much for your time, and we are definitely very grateful for the continued support of the municipality, and certainly I know you all had a hand in getting us in that space in the DeCoste. So we're very grateful for your support, and I'm here if you have any questions. Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Carissa. Brings us up to speed. So it's at first I thought we were 9th in the province. I'm good. We're 9th in the country.
No, in the country, yeah.
Doing really good here. But now, when did you say that it was going to be open, the garage door and doing stuff?
Next week. Next week there'll be an artist in residence in that space. So again, weather dependent. If it's too hot, probably not. And the wind is also kind of deterrent as well. But yeah.
All right, I'll open it up. Questions, Councillor Turner?
Thank you, Warden. Thank you, Carissa, for your presentation. I just have 2 brief questions. One is about money.
Yep.
And your budget, and what is your funding streams? And do you think that's enough money that you have? Of course, you always need more, but is your funding streams at this particular point in time sufficient to run your organization?
Short answer, no. We get funding from a few different spaces. So we do get funding from the province, the Community Culture, Tourism and Heritage operational funding for arts and culture organizations. We also get funding from all the towns and certainly municipality as well. And we also have a membership program that we do charge artists $60 a year to be a part of. We also have various fundraising initiatives over the year as well. We're doing this fall in November a gala art auction, so that'll be new for us. And certainly the forum that we had in June is also a moneymaker for us as well. We do sell tickets for that. So different ways, and also project grants. Whenever I write a project grant, I always write in a bit of an admin fee. So there always could be more, and we have launched a prospectus program where we're reaching out to different businesses in the community as well for corporate sponsorship and support in that realm. Yeah.
And my second question is, how do you measure the success of your organization? Like, you have your mission statement, and
Yep.
You have goals, obviously. Is there a board put together that sits down and says, this is the proper direction we're going, and let's reevaluate what we're doing, and we're successful in this endeavor, but we're not so much in this. So
Yeah.
how do you measure success in terms of your organization?
Yeah, so we do have a board of directors, and there are currently 7 folks that sit on there, and a variety of artists from different backgrounds or professionals in the community. Our new board chair, who just started last year, is her first full year under her belt, Dr. Vivian Laverviere, and so she loves to have sort of board day away. So we have them at least once a year, if not twice. Usually spring and then the fall. So we will have another one in September. And so the idea is to look back at the year and also to plan ahead. So in terms of success, I mean, we're always engaging with the artists that we're serving. And so having, those conversations and definitely having that space and an office has been huge because then we can actually meet folks face to face. And, you know, participation numbers is also a means of success. I'm always tracking how many folks attend our events and that kind of thing. And that also helps with applying for grants, of course. But I would say, you know, continuing to connect with our artists to make sure that they feel supported and served, and being able to provide different opportunities. Some of those projects I mentioned as well, like we've never done those before because we haven't had someone like me to kind of be there consistently to apply for them. So I would say participation, engagement with the community, and certainly successful grant applications as well is always good. Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
And Councillor Boyle.
Yes, thank you for coming. And I was just, my interest there is in Film Town.
Yeah.
Now, we have a lot of people that, you know, that went and took courses and everything to be actors or be whatever the case would be. How much are you just going to be putting in to try and, like, I mean, there's a lot of stories to be told in Pictou County. So
Yeah.
are you just going to be putting a lot of emphasis into something like that, or?
Yeah, so I mean, because we're an umbrella organization, we often have to rely on our community to help support. So as a follow-up to that event, a lot of folks actually reached out to me just after the event and said, I want to get involved, because part of the conversation during the forum was, you know, how can we collect everyone together, the screenwriters, the producers, directors, actors, into one space so they can find each other. And so that, in our mind, would be, you know, a volunteer committee that would be run to kind of be that person. One of the things that was recommended by one of our speakers in terms of a thing to have is to have 1 or 2 people that are kind of your on the ground person for production crews that come in. And so they can be that person that knows who do you call if you need this, this, and this, or need access to a certain location, that kind of thing, like a location manager essentially. So, I mean, there's definitely a need for it. And having a database of that information. So, you know, it's really up to us now to put together that committee that they can then take it a bit further as well. I'm the only staff person, so it is hard for me to kind of manage that as well. So as much as possible, we're asking our community to kind of help support those pieces as well. And it is a volunteer role. Ideally, we'd love to have someone that's paid that would just focus on film. There is in the partnership equivalent to Cape Breton, they do have someone on staff who, his name is Bill Culp, and that's really his role, is to be the arts and culture person for the partnership. And he's bringing in folks like Netflix and Disney and all of that. So I'm trying to convince the partnership here to hire a Bill Culp for Pictou County. Yeah.
So do you think this is something that will go, or is there a possibility of it falling through the cracks?
I mean, we're definitely trying to develop it, mostly because of the economic development piece. You know, artists, we need to support artists of all kinds, but especially the film industry can bring in so much money into a community, and that's what we heard really during our event. I mean, the crew is coming in, they need somewhere to stay, they need somewhere to eat, they're buying products, they're bringing in different funds, things like that. There's tourism related to the film industry, bringing folks in that want to see where their favorite movies or shows were shot. So the whole industry, there's so much potential there, so we're definitely not letting that one go, absolutely.
That's good to hear. Thank you. That's good. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Councillor Johnny Parker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for your presentation. We seem to have a really active art culture here in Pictou County.
Yeah.
There's a lot of artists here. Are you involved with the Art at Night program over there in New Glasgow?
Yeah,
a
so
couple months back?
Yeah, so we're not officially. I've been trying really hard to get in with them. I am in communication with Ian Grant, who does run, he's kind of the main gentleman there with his volunteer committee, but you know, we offer our support as much as possible, because it is a huge event, a huge draw for the community, and it's so great that so many emerging artists are supported in that endeavor.
Did you attend it this year?
I did, yes. Yeah, as a civilian, I did attend it.
People were there?
Yeah,
The
it was
Front Street
incredible.
was just packed.
Yeah,
There's
absolutely.
1,000 people there.
Yeah.
Every kind of artist you can think of.
Yeah.
You know, from painters to singers to jewelry makers to
Yeah.
you name.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just there, it was the Glasgow Square, the farmer's market, it was just people everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, it was a beautiful night.
It was until
That helped.
until it rained at the end. But yeah, it was, yeah.
But I mean,
Yeah.
I went to that years ago, there was just a few people.
Yeah.
And now there's just a ton of people, so
Yeah.
that shows you how strong the art culture is here in Pictou County.
Absolutely. Yeah, and like you said, the variety of artists that are supported with that
Yeah.
is fantastic.
No, I wish you all the best.
Thank you. Thanks.
So I don't see any more lights on, so I'll ask one question or make a comment. I guess that Creative Pictou County was around a lot of years ago and came here for funding, and then it sort of kind of fizzled
Yeah.
out, or mostly out, and now it's sort of in a rebirth.
Yeah.
But one of the difficulties, and I spoke to some people that are on the form run, is always to keep it going money-wise. Art is always seen as something, by many people, something that's nice, but you can't make a living at.
Yeah.
You know, and yet you look at some of the singers and how much they're making, and the people that write books and do famous paintings and everything, they're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
But that's a small percentage, but when you go and play hockey as a young person, there's a small percentage that make it to the top too.
Yeah.
But I'm glad to hear you talking about involving young people and stuff. I think sometimes we, as a council here and other groups, we do put a lot of money into sports, and that helps a lot of young people to keep out of trouble and be doing something.
Yeah.
And but for others, arts is what they're attracted to.
Yeah.
So it's good to see you talking about youth and involving the youth and whatnot, and you know, the other folks mentoring them and stuff, and learning, seeing things done, learning how to do it is so important.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily whether they're going to make a living at this,
Yeah.
but this might be what helps your mental health a lot, or helps in other ways, you know, other than the financial part. But the financial part is always the tricky part, to keep something going.
Yep.
Like, to have somebody in your position helps to keep something going, but there has to be enough funds, as Councillor Turner asked, you know, where the funding comes from. So, no, keep up the good work, and
Thank you.
glad to see you have a permanent home right over
Yeah.
here.
Awesome.
And
Great.
thank you again for coming
Yeah.
and making us a little wiser.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Okay, folks, we're going to move right on to the business items not requiring action. There's none of those tonight, so we'll move on to the ones requiring action. And Councillor Dewar, you're up first with the 25-26 tax rate.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Resolution tax rates 2025-26. Be it resolved by the Municipal Council that the estimated expenditures of the Municipality of the County of Pictou for the fiscal period April 1st, 2025 to March 31st, 2026 is approved in the amount of $30,695,730. And after making the allowance for the estimated revenue in the amount of $10,649,866. The amount of $20,045,864 is required from general taxation of the assessed value of 2,2,3,3,4,5,9,975 billion. That's big numbers for a little fellow from Elgin.
Haven't seen those in a while.
Well, anyway, therefore be it resolved that the tax rate for the fiscal period of April 1st, 2025 to March 31st, 2000, and that should be 26, okay? Be set at 0.815 per $100 of assessment for residential and resource property, and at $1.82.5 for $100 of assessment for commercial property. And be it further resolved that the tax rate and the rate and taxes for the current period may be collected by warrant of distress without further notice if not paid on or before the 15th day of October 2025, with all costs, expenses, and levies on all preceding incidentals. Therefore, to and further, if the said taxes are not paid by the 15th day of October 2025, an additional penalty charge will be payable in accordance with the municipal interest rate policy. Dated at Pictou NS the 7th day of July 2025. Signed by myself, Councillor Chester Dewar, and seconded by Councillor Andy Thompson.
Okay, so you've heard the reading of the resolution declaring our tax rate for the 25-26 year, being held at the same rate as last year, 81.5, and the $81.5. So is there any questions on that resolution? Seeing none, I'll declare, or no, seeing none, I'll ask for the vote. All those in favor? Aye. Against? Motion carried. Thank you. So next is Deputy Warden Murray with the resolution to do with our area rates for streetlights, hydrant, and sewer.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. Be it resolved, Municipal Council, Municipality of County of Pictou, that council authorize the rating and collection of area rates for streetlights, hydrant, fire protection, and sewer maintenance fees on applicable properties assessed in all districts as follows of the fiscal period 25-26. Type of area rate, streetlights for $100 of assessment will be .052. Streetlights in Little Harbor, Pictou Landing will be .016. Streetlights Abercrombie and Granton will be .017. Streetlights that are on flat rate property is $49.35. Streetlights in a flat rate of District 1 will be $9.09. Hydrant fire protection residential, a flat rate of $280. Hydrant fire protection for commercial is .44 cents per $100 of assessment. Hydrant fire protection for institutional is .48 cents per $100 of assessment. Sewer maintenance fee is $375. Be it further resolved that all rates and taxes as set out above shall be due and paid to the treasurer on or before the 15th day of October 25. If such rates and taxes are not paid by the 15th day of October 25, an additional charge will be payable in accordance with the municipality's interest rate policy. Dated Pictou, Nova Scotia, the 7th day of July 25. I so move this resolution, and seconded by Councillor McDonald.
Okay, heard the reading of the resolution to do with our area rates. Are there any questions on that resolution? It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Against? Motion carried. Yours is a nay? Okay. Now we have the next one's Councillor Palmer with the resolution on our water utility rates.
Thank you, Warden. Resolution be resolved by the Municipality of the County of Pictou that Council approve the water utility budget for the 2025-26 fiscal year in the amount of $622,040. The same having been reviewed and approved by the Financial Service Committee of Council. Dated Pictou, Nova Scotia, the 7th day of July 2025. Moved by myself, Councillor Randy Palmer, and seconded by Deputy Warden Wayne Murray.
So second?
Okay, that's the resolution on our water rates. Are there any questions on that one? And seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carried. Councillor Bailey next with the fire area rates.
Thank you, Warden. Resolution, be it resolved by the Municipal Council for the Municipality of the County of Pictou, the Council authorized the rating and collection of the following fire rates on property assessed in the fire coverage area throughout the municipality for the fiscal period 2025-26. I'm not going to read them all. They're all there in front of you. They range from roughly 8 cents to .195. Be further it resolved that all rates and taxes that are set out above shall be due and paid by the 15th day of October 25. If such rates and taxes are not paid by the 15th date of October 25, an additional charge will be payable in accordance with the municipality interest rate policy. Dated at Pictou, the 7th day of July 2025, signed by myself, Ronald Bailey, second by Councillor Parker.
So seconded.
Okay, so that's the resolution on our fire rates for 25-26. Are there any questions on that resolution? Seeing none, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Against? Motion carried. And now Councillor Thompson's up with a resolution on the New Scotland Business Incorporated tax rate.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Resolution, whereas New Scotland Business, Inc. and the Municipality of the County of Pictou and the Town of New Glasgow have agreed that the tax rates for the East River Business Park should not exceed $1.89 per $100 of assessment as a residential rate and $2.90 per 100 of assessment as a commercial rate. And whereas the Municipality of the County of Pictou has set the 2025-26 tax rates at 0.815 per 100 of assessment as a residential rate and 1.825 per 100 of assessment as a commercial rate. Therefore, be it resolved by the Municipal Council for the Municipality of the County of Pictou, the Council authorized the rating and collection of an area rate for the East River Business Park for the fiscal period 2025-26 as follows: residential rate of $1.075 per 100 of assessment, and the commercial rate at $1 per, or $1.075 of per 100 of assessment. Be further resolved that all rates and taxes as set out above shall be due and paid to the treasurer on or before the 15th day of October 2025. If such rates and taxes are not paid by the 15th day of October 2025, an additional charge will be payable in accordance with the municipality's interest rate policy, dated at Pictou, Nova Scotia, this 7th day of July 2025, moved by myself, Councillor Andy Thompson, seconded by Councillor Chester Dewar.
So seconded. Okay, that's the resolution concerning the rates at the New Scotland Business Park, with shared as the Town of Glasgow. It's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or concerns with that resolution? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Against? Motion carried. The next one, Councillor Wadden, is the sheep valuer appointments. Oh, sorry, I missed one, did it? Okay, Councillor McKeel with the council grants.
Thank you,
Get
Mr.
in a
Warden.
hurry here.
That's okay. Resolution, whereas numerous applications for funding were received and considered by the municipality during the preparation of the 2025-26 general operating budget. Therefore, be it resolved, the municipality of the County of Pictou approve the payment for the following grants. For community grants totaling $185,000 is their funding decision. For community development grants, $20,000 is our funding decision. Recreation culture grants in the amount of $145,900 for our funding decision. And the community connectivity fund, a total of $150,000. Grand total for all grants is $500,900. Dated at Pictou, Nova Scotia, the 7th day of July, 2025, signed by myself, Councillor Darla McKeel, and seconded by Deputy Warden Wayne Murray.
So second?
Okay, so you've heard the reading of the resolution to with our council grants, and it's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions on that resolution? Councillor Ron Bailey.
Thank you, Warden. I can't support this resolution, and the reason that I can't is the answer I got when I asked the question at the committee level why the River John, or I shouldn't say River John, the District 4 Community Coordinator grant was cut, and the answer was to make it fair, or because it was unfair, we had to make it fair. I guess the community coordinator position was created in District 4 back, I don't know, probably 15 plus years ago. We created the program, we built the program, we added to it as the program went on. Council has been very supportive of that program all the way through it. Other areas tried it, and I may be wrong on who they were, but I think it was District 1, I believe, tried it. East River Valley tried it. Scotsman tried it. And for some unknown reason, nothing wrong with, but they couldn't make them work. Maybe it just wasn't quite suited to that communities or whatever, but anyway, it didn't work. So onward, and I was on the grant committee with a number of counselors that are still here today, and every time that these would go through the committee level, there would be questions asked, the same as there'd be questions on all grants, but never once was it during that time that I sat on there, was it said that we can't do this because it's unfair. Never once. The last 4 years that I was here in council from 2016, 17, 18, 19, and 20, I was on the committee with you, Warden, Deputy Warden, Councillor Dewar, Councillor Palmer, and Councillor Dave Parker. And again, there was never a question asked. There's questions asked, but it was never stated that this was an unfair program for one area. And it just blows my mind that all of a sudden it became unfair. And I guess my question is, and if you can answer that, is why, if nobody of the present members of the committee that sat with me from 17 through felt it wasn't unfair, then why in 2021 did you start to feel that it was unfair? And if you can give me an answer, then that's fine. Oh, I guess silence is golden, Warden. So I'm going to make an amendment, and just to see where it goes, because of the success of the community coordinator in District 4. It says River John and area recreation, but I mean it should be actually District 4 because it's not only just River John, but it's also West Branch and Tony River that they help out. I'll make an amendment that the coordinator for the community of District 4 get an increase of $8,000 for what was previous to 2021, which was $13,000. I'll ask for a second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to have an amendment to increase the District 4 coordinator by $8,000 to a total of, what is it, 13? This is 5 each right now. So there's anybody, before I call for the vote on that, does anybody want to speak on that motion? Go ahead, Deputy Warden Murray.
I just want to be a little clearer, maybe it wasn't unfair. I did say that, but the biggest thing at that time was that there was an ask for over $1 million, and there had to be cuts somewhere, and that's where the committee at. I just had to say that.
Okay. Are there any other comments on the amendment? Hearing none, seeing none, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Aye. And those against?
Nay.
Okay, nays, please raise their hand. What's it? You get a count? Okay. Motion defeated. Okay, now we'll move on to the main motion, which was to pass the council grants for 25-26. Are there any further questions on that motion? Seeing none, we'll call for the vote on that resolution. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Against? Nay. One nay. Okay, now we'll move on to where it was before, Councillor Wadden with the sheep valuers.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Our resolution, whereas Section 9(1) of the Sheep Protection Act provides for the annual appointment of sheep valuers, whereas appointments to this office have been made throughout the various districts of the County of Pictou, whereas in accordance with the statutes of Nova Scotia, these appointments require the approval of council. Therefore, be it resolved by the Municipality of the County of Pictou that council approve the appointment of the following sheep valuers for 2024-25. District 2 is Alan Keefe, District 3 is William Ferguson, and District 12 is Willard McDonald. Dated at Pictou, Nova Scotia, on the 7th day of July 2025, signed by myself, Councillor Deborah Wadden, and seconded by Councillor Joe McDonald.
Okay, so you've heard the resolution on the sheep valuer appointments for 25-26, and it's been moved and seconded. Any questions?
Yeah, it should be 25, 26 is a mistake on the,
Oh, okay, I was just coming out, I wasn't reading. Okay, 25-26. And I think everybody's aware that when the sheep valuers are appointed for 3 districts, if they're needed, you know, we can use those ones in other districts, because there's still a few sheep in most districts, I think. But I call for the vote now. All those in favor? Aye. And against? Motion carried. Now we'll get to Councillor McDonald with municipal service grants from District 1.
Be it resolved in the municipality of the county of Pictou approves the following municipal grants for District 1. You all can see there, the only change is the Marcia for the BOK 1GO event has been deleted. They asked that it be deleted and back into the kitty for next year's municipal service grant. So the total of that municipal service grant will be $24,000. Dated at Pictou, Nova Scotia, the 7th day of July 2025, signed by myself, Joe McDonald, and seconded by Councillor Deborah Wadden.
Okay, so that's the municipal service grants for District 1. Moved and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Against? Motion carried. Now we'll move on to Deputy Warden Murray with municipal service grants for District 5.
Be it resolved, the municipality of the county of Pictou approve the following municipal service grants for District 5. They're all listed there for a total of $35,570, dated at Pictou, Nova Scotia, the 7th day of July 25. I so move this resolution. Seconded by Councillor McKeel.
Okay, that's your municipal service grants for District 5. All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carried. And now we'll move to District 6, Councillor Turner.
Thank you, Warden. Resolution, be it resolved, the municipality of the county of Pictou approves the following municipal service grants for District 6. West River Fire Department Auxiliary, $2,000 for kitchen supplies. Salem and Area Recreation, $10,000 for concrete storage building. Northumberland Regional High School, $5,000 purchase and install a greenhouse. Durham Community Club, $3,000 hall upgrades. Salem Presbyterian Church, $1,500 fridge for the hall. West River Presbyterian Church Hall, $2,000 for hall upgrades. Lock Room Log Church, $2,000 for maintenance, for a total of $25,500. Dated at Pictou, Nova Scotia, the 7th day of July, 2025, signed by myself, Councillor Larry Turner, seconded by Councillor Peter Boyles.
Okay, so you've heard the reading of the resolutions for municipal service grants for District 6. Moved and seconded. Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carried. Now we move to District 9, municipal service grants. Councillor Boyles.
Resolution, be it resolved, the municipality of the county of Pictou approves the following municipal service grants for District 9. And as everybody's been saying, you can see them listed there for a total of $22,000, dated at Pictou, Nova Scotia, the 7th day of July, 2025. Signed myself, Peter Boyles, and seconded by Councillor Chester Dorr.
Okay, you heard the readings of the municipal service grants for District 9. Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carried. Now we have Councillor Turner again for District 11.
Thank you, Warden. Resolution, be it resolved, the municipality of the county of Pictou approves the following municipal service grants for District 11. Churchville Cemetery, $400 for cemetery maintenance. Churchville Community Hall, $1,850 for operating costs. East River Valley Community Development, $1,500 newsletter expense. Plymouth Fire Department, $1,500 equipment purchase and operating costs. Plymouth Fire Department's Lady Auxiliary, $950 equipment and expense for catering. Ridgeville Cemetery, $400 for maintenance. Ridgeville Community Hall, $1,850 for operating costs. East River Valley Fire Department, $1,500 equipment purchase. East River Valley Recreation Association, $2,000 maintenance and operating costs. Glencoe Community Hall, $950 for maintenance. Springville Cemetery, $400 for maintenance. Springville Church and Community Hall, $3,000 for a well project. Sunny Brae Cemetery, $400 for maintenance. Blue Mountain Fire Department, $1,500 operation and equipment purchase. East River St. Mary's Fire Department, $1,500 for operation and equipment purchase. Garden of Eden Cemetery, $400 for maintenance. Garden of Eden Community Hall, $3,750 to replace a beam in the hall. Greensbrook Cemetery, $400 for maintenance, for a total of $24,250. Dated at Pictou, Nova Scotia, the 7th day of July, 2025, signed by myself, Councilor Larry Turner, seconded by Councilor Peter Boyles.
Okay, you've heard the reading of the resolution for District 11 municipal service grants. Moved and seconded. Are there any questions? Okay, I'll call for the vote. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Councilor Bailey.
Is there any reason why the counselor from District 11 didn't read these municipal service grants?
I'm not sure. The ladies that set it up. is
Yeah,
probably
it's
in-
generally who moves it at the committee level. So that evening, Councillor Thompson would have been chairing the financial services. So that's generally how they're assigned.
Did they call for the vote on that one or not? No. Okay, we'll call for the vote then on the District 11 municipal service grants. All those in favor? Aye. Against? Motion carried. Now we'll come to District 12, Councillor Dewar.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. Now, I'm gonna add one more on there, and it's on our computer. It's for the Eureka Fire Department, and it was okayed, everything's fine. So it'll be $2,000 more for the Eureka Fire Department. So the total's gonna be $25,750 instead of $23,750. Okay, just that's a typing mistake, I guess. And we'll blame it on Sue Ann if she's not here.
Not here.
Okay, so be it resolved that the municipality of the county of Pictou approves the following municipal service grants for District 12. East River Valley Community Development Association, $6,000 newsletter hall projects. East River Valley Recreation, $2,000 for the trail and the upkeep of their fields. Friends of Iona Park, $1,500 park upkeep. First Presbyterian Church, $750 maintenance of War Memorial, so that's mowing and keeping everything neat around it. Hopeful Recreation and Candy Cane, $3,000 for the footbridge, park, and Candy Cane. Eureka Fire Hall, or Eureka Fire Department, $2,000, department projects. Lorne Cemetery, $1,500 maintenance. Lorne Community Hall, $6,000 upgrades to fire safety. Riverton Cemetery, $1,500 cemetery upkeep. St. Columbus Cemetery, $1,500 cemetery upkeep, for a total of $25,750. Dated at Pictou, NS, the 7th day of July, 2025. Signed by myself, Councillor Chester Dorr, and seconded by Councillor Peter Boyles.
Okay, you've heard the reading of the resolution for the municipal service grants for District 12. Been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Against? Motion carried. Now, we have the next one is Councillor McDonald, is the Recreation Capital Grant. Go ahead, Councillor McDonald.
Staff recommendation for the recreational grant funding. The Municipality of Pictou County has budgeted $7,000 in its commercial recreation program operating grant for 2025-26. The grant covers several sources of funding and recreational programming, including community recreational programming, leadership programming, operational assistance grants, and startup grants. The community recreational grant, which allows the municipality to grant up to $750 to community organizations, and is offering summer recreations and programming for the municipality of Pictou County residents. There is 4 districts that has such programming, so if all the funds were requested, would be come to $3,000. We currently have a grant request from the following organizations. To ensure the requests do not exceed the budget, the staff has made following recommendations: operating assistance grants, UC Friends, Thorburn Youth Group, $1,000, Lismore District Recreation Youth Leadership Program, $1,000, Little Harbor Youth Lead Art Program, $1,000, startup grants, Pictou County Music and Memories Cafe, $200 for programming, Celtic Chorus Women's Choir, $200 for programming, Pictou County Arm Wrestling Association, $200 for programming. This will leave $400 in the budget if there is any other application that come forward throughout the year. Signed by myself, Joe McDonald, and seconded by Deborah Wadden.
Okay, so you've heard the resolution to do with the Recreation Capital Grant. The staff recommendation is there on how to spend the dollars. I think we dealt with this before when there wasn't enough dollars available. So this is the resolution that staff has come up with. So it's been moved and seconded. Go ahead, Councillor Boyles.
Yeah, I just, like on the startup grants there, I mean, it says in the application $350 for a startup grant. And these organizations are, you know, trying to get something going in our community for our children and our, you know, adults, everybody, some of them, and yet we turn around and we knocked them down to 200. I just don't understand that, why they wouldn't be given what our application says, 350 for a startup grant.
I think we asked staff to come back with a recommendation when we didn't have enough money in the budget, and this is what they're recommending. Do you have anything to say on that, Brian?
The application, I think the policy says we may grant up to 350, but as you mentioned, Warden, this is the recommendation to keep it within budget, because the operating assistant grants are $1,000, and those asks were considerably higher, I think, in some cases, right, as well. So it's just the way to keep it in budget.
Well, I like to turn around and say too, then, if that's the case, we got to stop giving to the other places that turn around and are not in the county and help our people in the county that want to do something and start up stuff. I mean, you got your towns all starting stuff and doing stuff and everything. In the county, we're telling them, no, I'm sorry. We turn around and don't have the money for you because we're giving it to everybody else.
Okay, thank you. So we haven't had the vote on that yet, have we? No, okay. Let's move along and have the vote then on that staff recommendation as to how to spend those very limited dollars. All those in favor? Aye. Against? One nay vote. Okay, next is Councillor Wadden of the dog pound keeper recommendation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Resolution, be it resolved, Municipality of the County of Pictou appoints Shelby Ranch of Scottsburn as its pound keeper for a monthly fee of $750 for a one-year term, dated at Pictou, Nova Scotia, the 7th day of July, 2025. Signed by myself, Councillor Deborah Wadden, and seconded by Councillor Joe McDonald.
So seconded.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Their new dog pound keeper will be Shelby Ranch in Scottsburn. Any questions on that one? Seeing no lights on, all those in favor? Aye. Against? Motion carried. Now we have the appointment of a temporary development officer, Councillor Donnie Parker.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. Resolution, whereas the municipality of the County of Pictou is currently in the process of hiring a new development officer, whereas the municipality currently has 2 building officials who can temporarily fill the position until a new development officer is hired. Therefore, be it resolved, the municipality of the County of Pictou appoint building officials Travis Spears and Cody Avery as its temporary development officers. Dated at Pictou, Nova Scotia, the 7th day of July, 2025. Signed by myself, Councillor Donnie Parker, and seconded by Councillor Ronnie Bailey.
So second.
Okay, so moved and seconded that our two building inspectors serve temporarily as our development officer until such time as we hire a new one. So it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Against? Motion carried. Next is the lack of grass cutting on the shoulders of the road, and that is Councillor McKeel.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. This is something that I had asked to be put on the agenda. I'm not sure about everyone else's district, but I can tell you that District 3, there's a lot of places. The shoulders of the road, sides of the road, it was not mowed until September last year. And it was well after Labor Day. I know when the mower went past my house. And just like every place else, we have lots of wildlife and deer and that sort of thing. And in my opinion, it really is a safety issue. So it was important for me to put this on the agenda. I know that there's, lots of new employees and lots of training and limited funds. But I think here in our rural municipality, it really is a safety issue. And we need to get the sides of our roads mowed. I am happy to report that, of course, after I put that on the agenda, they did make some efforts in District 3. They did a beautiful job. I've never seen them take whippersnippers to the guardrails. It was lovely, but there's still some work to be done, and I'm not sure whatever it's like in everybody's neck of the woods, but I think it's a very important issue, especially with the amount of wildlife we have, and we all know that if we mowed our lawns this year, that the grass is growing quicker than ever, so it's already quite high in a lot of places. So I would make a motion that we write to our province and copy the local MLAs, thanking them for the great work that's already been done, but remind them that this is a safety issue for our residents and ask that the roads be done in a timely manner.
Thank you, Councillor McKeel. Is there a seconder for your motion? Regularly moved and seconded. Any questions? Go ahead, Peter.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you could maybe throw on that too about the trees that are growing out onto the roads, and people, like I know on our road, when we come to the end and we look down, we can't even see the cars coming to there, and I'm getting calls from different places about the same thing.
I understand that, Councillor Boyles, but I think right now we just need to have a mower going down the road and getting our sides. I do think that is a safety issue as well, and we can put that in there, but I think my main point was the roads, but if you want to add that in, I'm fine with that.
Do you want that added then?
Yeah, I like to have that added because it's pretty dangerous, it is, and I agree with not only is right now the tick population is gone crazy in Pictou County, so I mean we got that tall grass and people got to walk in, and it's going to cause a lot more health problems.
Okay, any further questions? Randy, sorry.
Thank you, Deputy Warden. Yeah, it's just, I made a phone call today just to find out how many mowers they have. They have one in the east and one in the west, and they do have a private one hired occasionally over in the east. And their method is to do the 100 series highways first, and then do the trunks, routes, then the secondary roads after that. So it takes we get a lot of roads here in Pictou County. And when you only have two machines, it's pretty hard to, and it's not a fast operating process, because actually today they did my roads, so I know how fast they went by. Yeah. So it triggered my mind. So I know how slow a process that is. So even if it's like if you go on, how many kilometers of roads do we have here in Pictou County? And with only two machines, it's pretty hard to keep up with in time you cut one, in a month's time, she'll be back up again too. So it is, and I don't think that you're going to get more funding from the province to get more machinery and equipment, because they do it in this county, they'll have to do it in every county. So I know it is an issue, but they do try their best. So I can't support the motion.
Thank you, Councillor Palmer. Any further questions on the motion? Go ahead, Debbie.
Yeah, this is a major concern in our area as well, but I don't, I'm not sure what a letter to the province is gonna do other than just write a letter to the province, and I don't know what we achieve by that, so, it's a tough one to, support. But I know the people in my area, they can go, it can be September before they get, the grass cut, but they do eventually get there. And they tell you each time you phone that they are out there getting it done. The only concern, another concern I have is last summer, many of the, the main highway, the on and off ramps were not cleared. We had a terrible time in some of the ramps, especially coming into, like, coming off the Pictou ramp and that sort of thing. So I'm not sure if a machine breaks down, maybe they move our machines to their area to cover them, this sort of thing. But I just don't see what writing a letter's gonna do for that. I really don't.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions, comments? If not, everyone in favor, whoops, sorry. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Andy. She made the motion.
So I applaud the concern, but I can't support this motion. For the simple fact is, about a year ago, we went through this exercise where the province said, I'm sure what they were doing, they were getting frustrated because they were getting all these complaints about potholes and bad roads and dirt roads and mowing and all this stuff. They said, fine, then you guys, if you want your secondary roads, then we'll hand them over to you and you should look after them yourself. And we said no, because it would basically bankrupt us if we had to look after those roads. I agree that there's a lot of overgrowth, but unless we're prepared to spend money on it, I just don't think that the solution is to complain to the provincial government. I think there's a process. If there's a concern with a specific road, there's a 1-800 number that will get that on some list to be dealt with by one of the managers. But I don't think we should become the complaint department for all these concerns. I think that we should stick to what we're responsible for, and we already told the province we don't want to manage and maintain these roads, so I can't support the motion.
Thank you, Andy. Go ahead, Joe.
Just in District 1 and that stuff, they just started doing some trimming along the Highway 4s and that stuff in the district. Our Trans-Canada is better than my lawn, probably. It's really looked after, so at least from New Glasgow East, it's well looked after. Thank you.
Okay, go ahead, Darrell. If there's nobody else, go ahead.
Thank you. I would agree that there are certain areas that are getting done, as Councillor McDonald said. The Pictou Rotary is lovely. It seems to get mowed every 2 weeks. But I'm appreciative that it's done because it looks great. And again, there's so many deer moving through the Rotary that we need to have that mowed. While I understand that this isn't really in our bailiwick, so to speak, residents and their concerns of public safety definitely is. And while I know that it's writing a letter, and I'm not a big fan of that either, I do know that our local MLAs do take notice of these letters and can get behind this and maybe support us through that as well. The problem is that there is only one mower, and that's not sufficient. We talk at council quite often about how many roads we have in Pictou County, that it's way more than other municipalities. So if we're only getting one mower and we have the most roads, well, that's not really fair either. And it really is a timing issue. We talk about, the 1-800 series highways are done first, and then so on and so forth. But even the main roads weren't done to September in District 3, which is far past, far overdue in my opinion. I think what we're looking at here is just a basic request of public safety. No, we don't want to take over the roads. I completely agree with Councillor Thompson. We do not want to take over the roads. But what we're not looking out for the roads here. We're looking out for the residents and public safety. So I guess that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We'll call for the vote. Go ahead, Donnie.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I support Councillor McKeel's motion here. It's an ongoing problem. The way to fix it, they need another mower. And we got more roads in Pictou County than just about any county in the province. And I think we need to send them a letter and ask them to do something about it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Any further? Okay, everyone in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Nay. Nay, put their hands up, please. 1, 2, 3. Okay, motion carried.
So we're down to the last one on our list of resolutions there, capital improvement plan. We'll let Brian speak to this one.
So I guess the covering memo covers off the projects that were evaluated as new projects or potential projects for consideration in the 5-year plan. There were none of the 8 that met the 50+1 threshold as a priority of council. So the capital improvement plan is, in essence, the projects that have already been on the plan from previous years. And so year 1 projects are projects that are capital out of revenue, items that were contained in the general operating budget, as well as some of the other priorities. And year 2 is kind of I guess a carryover off some of those projects that would go over into year 2. And some of them are, at this point, just put in year 2 based on whether or not we would actually get to them in this current year. So we show them as a year 2 expenditure more so than a current year, just because we may not get to them in time. So.
Okay, ready for questions then on the capital investment plan. I see Councilor Turner has his plate down. Go ahead, Councilor.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. It's striking to me that we have no planning for year 3, 4, and 5. I think it's a responsibility of this council to perhaps change the way that we evaluate and put things on the capital plan. It's, you know, it's disappointing, I'm sure, to a lot of councils around here that had, you know, worthwhile projects in their minds and worthwhile projects that they spoke off on behalf of their residents, that the 50% plus 1 methodology didn't put anything on year 3 and 4 and 5. So I think it's and I spoke to this previously, and there was a number of councilors around this table who felt the same way, that we should really reconsider how we put capital projects together. And I think we're lacking right now. One of the arguments was that, you know, somebody could just wish, you know, to have something on it, and it doesn't have any merit. And well, you know, if a councilor comes here with a request from a resident and they feel it's worthwhile, then it should be considered. So all I'm saying is that I'm kind of disappointed in the process, that we don't have anything in terms of year 3, 4, and 5 in terms of planning. So I'm not sure what the answer is, and I'm sure that other councilors have opinions on it, so that's my thought on that.
Okay, and I think we did have a vote on that as to whether to put them all in or not, and we voted the other way on that. But I think the best thing to do is continue to fight for those. They're gonna be a ways off anyway if we already have 12 or 15 on. It's gonna be down the road a ways before they make it, but I think it is the responsibility of council to decide whether, you know, if something comes forward here, we have to make a judgment as to whether that's something we want to put on the list or not. I don't think we can just, you know, say, well, if the councilor hears some people in the area, that's good enough, we'll take it. I think we have the responsibility to make that decision, and that's what we did when we voted on them. Yes, none of them made it, but some of them had, you know, reasons that they couldn't make it, you know, because of various factors, but that's what the vote was, and that's what we were asked to do, and you're suggesting we do it a different way. than others do.
One of the things that we could consider is have recommendations from administration. They know the state of our infrastructure better than anybody. I mean, we can have anecdotal information from each one of the councilors, and they can bring it forward and say, this is this, and this is that, and this person wants this, and this person wants that, and they bring it to council. But we need, and I've talked about this before, we need hard data on things to make proper decisions. And I think that we need administration to go out and to look at these projects and say and say to council, this is a worthwhile project, this is not. And then council makes the decision. That's one particular way to do it. So I'm just looking at ways to push some of these things forward, right? Because they're left off. There's nothing in 3, nothing in 4, nothing in 5. And some of these are really legitimate projects. And we need information to make the decision on. And I think perhaps we should get advice from our administration. Go out and explore these projects. Say this is worthwhile, this one, you know, could wait, and get them on there, and then make our decisions based on the advice that we get from our engineering department, you know, our financial department. We're making decisions here based on, you know, vapor, and I don't think that's the proper way to go. Thanks.
Okay, I'm not gonna speak anymore on it, I'll leave it, and let me speak, that wants to, Councilor Fields.
Thank you very much, Mr. Warden. So I was not here for that discussion. My apologies on that. In reading through the survey, I did find that there was staff recommendations. Am I wrong with that? That there was certain roadblocks. I felt like a lot of projects, it's not that they're not worthy, it's just that they had roadblocks, and there was a lot of work to do to see if it was even feasible before they were ready to do it. And I think that's the problem with some of these projects, is they're not quite there yet in order to be put on our capital improvement plan. You know, I think that we obviously, it's not just enough for the residents to want it or for us to champion it, it has to be feasible. And it has to be also, you know, it has to be doable. And I feel like when reading through the survey, some projects just weren't quite there yet. And to put them on the plan, just to have them on the plan, to have something there as a placeholder isn't enough for me, right? I need to have something that I know that it has the possibility of moving forward, not just we wish it would move forward. So I think that's, I guess, my looking at that. I'm fine right now with how we do this. I think it's coming to council. I think we're getting an opinion on it. But am I wrong? Was there not some staff, or was it anecdotal? Someone can answer that.
No, I think the flags that are there are real.
Yes.
Like under funding, that the affordability, we can't do this without other levels of funding, that's a real. And there were some other flags for various projects, which maybe it will be overcome with I think that night we did talk about on a couple of them meeting with the Department of Transportation to see if there is a resolution. So those are things that can happen if that's the direction, and we'll work with the counselor on any of these projects to close those gaps, right? That is there. There is not a hard and fast recommendation, but one of the things on there is the project essential? Can it be deferred? And most of them they're all good projects, but can they be deferred? New projects can always be deferred. It's your existing infrastructure can't really be deferred if there's issues that are identified with that, because that could have a material impact on how you operate. Is there a better way to do it? Maybe. You can look at how we do it and come up with a different set of criteria to try and move them on. We show them as year 1 and 2 projects. Some of the projects may be a year 2 and 3 just from a practical standpoint, but we show it as like a 1 year, but it could actually be a 2-year project just based on construction schedules, things like that. So, but I guess we're trying to keep everything kind of within 1 year if we can, kind of thing, so.
And I think we are asking staff to evaluate and go over them, but it's sort of certainly our responsibility if we say, well, you tell us what should be, 1, 2, or 3. We can't do that. I don't think we have to. It's our responsibility to make those decisions, and this is one particular way of doing it. There's all kinds of others, I'm sure. Councillor Turner.
I guess I
Sorry,
just,
Sorry, I should take the ones that haven't spoke yet. Go ahead, Councillor Bailey. Sorry.
that's okay.
Thank you, Warden. I guess I find it hard to move with projects moving forward if there's no, if they're not on some list, and a deferred list, I don't really call that a list enough to me to pick up the phone and say to Logan, listen, can we get fixed counts in this? And the first thing he's going to say, well, where's the money coming from? So we got to get them, to move them forward, they got to be on some list. Deferred list, to me, is not something that I'm acceptable with. I'm more in line with Councillor Turner. I can't understand why they all can't be on. When something comes, they automatically go on year 5, and then they move as accordingly with that. Next thing, off these, we got, I think I counted them, and I might have missed one, but I think I counted 15 projects for year 1. We're 3 months in. How many of those done? How many of those started? Where are we at of those 15 projects? I know one is started, and it wasn't even on the list last year. It came on because Councillor Thompson found money for it. That's why the Green Hill one, or the Plymouth Blue Acres sidewalk went on that project. It wasn't there. Is that true? It wasn't there last year. So my question is okay, so we've got this here. How many of those projects are started or completed 3 months into the year?
There could be
None?
that are completed.
Well,
none of them can be completed
no.
until they're funded, in essence.
That's true. I agree with that. But are they started? Has any of them started?
So there are municipal building renovations. There's tender out on that. Streetlights, that's just a kind of an ongoing inventory type thing. So they're ordered and installed. Vehicle purchases, we wouldn't do anything with that until it's approved. Same with microphones. The West Pictou drainage is complete. Blue Acres sidewalk is in essence, I would say, we're probably 95% substantially complete on that. The other two sidewalks have not been tendered. The flow meters is in the works. Wastewater generator hasn't been. Some work has been going on the Hopewell PS3. The E1 pumps is just, once the budget's approved, it's an inventory item, so. Town of Pictou is. It's, yeah, billed at the end of the year, based on the work that they do. Lift station repairs, that's, maintenance that, has been identified to them. McClellan's Brook, is, basically soon to start on that one. And the other two would be tenders that would have to be issued.
Okay, so I've been here long enough. When we're talking about going out for tenders in July, we can pretty well guarantee we're not going to start by the end of the year, by my experience. So basically, probably 3/4 of those that's on year one are going to go to year one next year. And so the ones that are down at the bottom of the list, but we won't put on the list, are never going to get moved. We're stuck on basically, for lack of better words, I'm going to say we're stuck on getting nothing done.
Okay, do I see that hasn't spoken, Councillor Morris, you haven't spoken yet? Okay. Okay, yeah, I see this, just working our way down.
I was just wondering, like on the lift station in Hillside, I think there are a few surveys back, we were number one, and I think we had unanimous pretty well consent that that had to be done. Something had to be done there and either move it or whatever we're going to do with it. But every year, we're spending big money in storms with pumper trucks down there turning around and taking water away. So I just turn around and I'd like to know, even if you do get number one, when are they going to do something? I'd have to, agree with Mr. Bailey.
Councillor Thompson.
So thank you. I guess for me, I've done a lot of projects in my time as a councillor in my community, and been lucky enough to have some municipal projects move forward. But those projects moved forward because they were on a list. So when I went, and I'll go to any politician, any level of government, and if they get a checkbook, I'm ready to do business with them. But the first question they ask you is your project on your capital priority list if it's a municipal project? And if you say no, they just turn away and walk away. And for my projects that I was in my district that I'm trying to promote, it's in response to a $100 million building being built in our community. We need more water, and I'm not sure people understand that. I need to explore what that looks like. We have a building that's going to open up and host 144 residents in our community, and it requires fire safety as well. So I need to explore that, and if it's not on a list, I can't even explore it. Now, the main reason why the sidewalks in Blue Acres moved forward was because our council, like Councillor Wadden was the one that put the motion on the floor to do the design work for that sidewalk, because for 15 years, it was every time I brought this issue up around our council table, we spent the whole time discussing why we couldn't do it, and it never proceeded. It never got on a list because it didn't have 50% plus one. And I guarantee you there's chatter on Facebook every night of the week talking about that sidewalk in Blue Acres and how happy people are that it's finally done. But that wasn't on a capital list. It wasn't anywhere. And it only moved forward because it just, the stars aligned, I guess. But I don't know, we have 3 years that are empty. Like, and we have all kinds of, and I'm only one district. There's other areas of this county that we should be trying to develop these things and using staff time to, first of all, maybe the people in Churchville and Upper Plymouth, maybe they don't want water, but it's going to be harder to find that out without the focus of a capital list that has these projects on it that we can develop. Right now, we're stuck on year 1 and 2, and I don't know, it's sort of like that deadlock that would existed before Confederation in Canada, in Upper and Lower Canada, that you couldn't get anything done because nobody could agree to anything. Something's wrong with what we're doing, and if people deny that, then I don't know. We got to change something here, and we're not going to do it here tonight. It's almost 9 o'clock, but this isn't working.
Just probably a question for Brian, through you, Mr. Chair. For funding for these projects, whatever capital funding and that stuff, or improvement projects, would it probably be beneficial to be on the capital plan, would it not? To getting funding from other sources, like provincial, federal government?
It does, but it also has to be a priority of council that you want to do it. And this survey would say these are not priorities of council, because you can't get a majority of councillors to say they're worthy projects to be considered. Like the closest one was a 6-6 vote. The others were not really close, right? So unless council says we're willing to do a project, right, you can't apply if it's not a priority.
No, maybe.
No, that's the reality,
Yeah.
right? And we identified back a number of years ago, and it's still on the project or on the list, we identified McClellan's Brook as water and Salem Water and Sewer as projects, and as funding became available, they will get done. We were successful in getting federal funding on McClellan's Brook. We haven't advanced the wastewater in Salem because we haven't got the level of funding from the other levels, right? But they are identified, those are identified as the priorities. And even then, Salem was our #1 priority, and it wasn't funded initially at the higher, by the government, McClellan's Brook government. The other levels of government will sometimes tell you what you're gonna do, kind of thing, so.
Yeah, I'm just, like the other counselor says, there should be something going on there every year, but, I mean, I don't know how the criteria would be less than 50-50, like over 51% or whatever, but maybe the top one each year or something, but I think it has to change somehow. Thank you.
Okay, and that's a discussion we can have, how we're gonna move forward, if in a better way. We said, I think it was 75%.
The way it actually was done in the past was that you rated your projects. If you had 10 projects, you each rated 1 to 10 what you thought were the priorities, and then it had to achieve a percent each. And even doing it that way, there were years where projects just didn't score enough because everybody would say, well, maybe these 2 projects are my top 2 priorities, but for everybody else, they were 8 and 9. So that system didn't work either. So
there are different systems that sure we can look at and see if we can find something that works better, but a lot of the year 1 and 2, as Brian said, are gonna move to year 3 and some of them maybe year 4 because there's not the funding, that we don't have enough funding. We can put them all on, but it's kind of leading people to believe that we have, you know, the money for it when we don't in many cases, or we're waiting on other levels of government. Councilor Donnie Parker.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. Yeah, my area got 6 votes. That's 50%. So 6 out of 12 councilors voted for it. I needed 1 more. I mean, these people in Salter Road and Pleasant Valley Road, it's critical. They need water. Their wells are going dry. And I don't know what more I can do to get another vote here, but that's what I need. But it's just hard to understand. I'm just new here, but I feel for those people. They're not gonna get water anytime soon unless I get them on some kind of list. I'm not familiar with everything here, but you gotta get on this preliminary list to move to the next list, I believe, but I'm trying to get on the preliminary list. In order to get that, I need 1 more councilor. And I don't know what you gotta do, but it's critical. We're gonna keep at it, and I'm gonna keep fighting for them there, and I don't know what to tell them other than I got half. I needed half plus 1, and wait till next year and try again, I guess. But it's just frustrating when you see them. Like, they asked me to take a petition around. I didn't come up with the idea. They asked me, and so I did. And everybody read it and willingly signed it. I didn't force them to sign it. They willingly signed it. They wanted water. So, I mean, I'm trying everything I can here to get them water, and the water is right there at the whistle there. All we gotta do is take it at that road right to them. But all I can do is just ask for everybody's help next year and hope I can get 1 more vote. But it's frustrating when you get to this one. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, Councilor Wood.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just kind of like the Little Harbor Sidewalk, for example, I am trying to get a meeting going with Mr. McDonald with the highways. Anyways, hopefully that will take place and we'll be able to move a little bit forward with that sidewalk. But for the water issue, especially with these projects, my understanding from the discussion that night is that New Glasgow's is tight with water as well as Westville. So are we working actively to see if we can get the water issue resolved, or like, in order to do these projects with water especially, we need to have access to the water. So I just want to make sure that, maybe I misunderstood what we discussed that night, but that would be my concern, is that we have to get water to be able to move forward with these projects.
Certainly right now, there is an issue in the west between water supply between New Glasgow and Westville. There is an issue there that really could impede that, right? Like, we're not exceeding our levels. Like, we're well within, we have an agreement with Westville that we buy 30,000 gallons a day, right? We're well within that limit. But on the other side, there is a sale agreement between units, and there's debate, I guess, whether or not there's exceedances there. So that does have a downflow effect. The other water projects, similarly, would all be New Glasgow water. So we have an agreement there that we probably have the capacity to do. Water is not as straight, just, it's not only access to the water, it has to make financial sense, in that a project that you add cannot have a negative effect on the utility and the people that are already on it. And we haven't really done that analysis because we could do it based on estimates that we have and things like that. we just did it for McClellan's Brook because we awarded the contract, so we've done it for the UARB. We're adding 156 units this time, based on our survey results. I think we're at like 75% said they would take it, so that's 119 users that we're adding. As I said this to Councillor Palmer earlier tonight, we buy water at, I think it's 47 cents per cubic meter. We sell it at $1.17 from New Glasgow. When we are in the west, like the other utilities, we're buying it at like $1.07 and selling it for $1.17, so we don't make money, right? So, and you need that, it's volume, right? Volume is what makes money on water utilities, so so it's not only access to the water, it has to make financial sense. And if you do not get other levels of funding, that has a negative impact because you have to fund the depreciation of the asset. And if you don't have other levels of funding and you're 100% on your own, that is 100% that has to be depreciated in the calculation, right? So it's complicated with water.
Yeah, and I understand what you're saying there, but just unless we do that next step, we're not gonna know if it's feasible to do a water project in these areas, right? And I guess that's the concern I have with this, the way we do up our capital improvement, is that we're not moving forward to see if there is another project, like, for example, Pleasant Valley. What is the feasibility in doing that one? Like, I think if we had that information, it may make the way we vote on these a little bit better too. But because there is something wrong, it just doesn't make sense that everything stops with year two.
Okay, your light's still on, Don. You had another question? I'll go over here first. I just didn't know if you just turned it off. So Councillor Turner, I'm gonna let you go.
Thank you, Warden. If we don't change something, we're going to go through this process again next year. It'll be the same result. We're going to have that list come up again. We're going to vote on it, 50% plus one. Why is the vote going to change? The vote's going to change for maybe two reasons. One is the legitimacy of the project comes to council. And how do you get that legitimacy of the project through to the other councilors? It's through lobbying. You're going to lobby the other councilors. I need this project A, I need this project B. You support this, I'll support yours. Then it becomes political, right? And the process becomes political. And I don't think that's the best way to solve the problems of building the community, building Pictou County. I think you got to look at building assets that are going to create, you know, quality of water and economic development and you know, residential development, commercial development. You know, that all has to be taken into consideration. So if we don't change the process, we're going to be right back here again next year with the same arguments, and we're not going to get anywhere because the year one stuff, some of it's going to be done. And what's going to go on the next couple of years, it's going to be that same list, and somebody might bring one or two more here, and we'll vote on them again, and it might be a list that doesn't go anywhere, right? The list will just go into limbo. And I don't think that's the way to operate, you know. A lot of people bring up, you know, there's a roadblock here or the roadblock here or a roadblock here. We came from an organization, Andy and I came from an organization, if there was a roadblock put up, you had to find a way around that roadblock, and you work it. You work the project. So, you know, there may be a roadblock here, there might be a funding problem here, or a policy here, but you work them. You work those things, and you solve the problems. And I think that, you know, if we're going to go back to the same system as we have, we're going to have the same problems. So I think that we have to really revisit this whole capital planning project. Thank you.
Counselor Donnie Parker, and then I think I'll call it that.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. There seems to be some confusion about the amount of water available. I know that's a problem down in Glasgow, but it's not a fact yet, but I've been told, and I brought it up at the last meeting there, that the CAO from the town of Westville I spoke to here a month and a half ago, that they're drilling a well field out in Central West River. They're gonna tap into that line in Salem and reverse the water back to Westville. So if they drill a well field, there should be lots of water available. Now, we can see if that happens, I guess, but that's what he told me a month and a half ago. They're in the process. They got satellites figured out exactly where the best spot to drill water was, and that was the plan. They were gonna do it before the frost come out, but they didn't get to it in time. So if we get a new well field there, should be all kinds of water. That's not very far from where this, it's right next to Salem, so that'll make a difference. But anyway, just for your information. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
We'll be able to sell water to Westville. Okay, so back to where we started here, our capital improvement plan. So there's nobody's name on that. So do we need a motion? We need a motion to adopt the capital improvement plan. Does somebody want to make a motion? We can do all we want for next year to try to change things, but for tonight, we need a motion to approve the capital improvement plan.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. I think we've discussed it enough, so all those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carried. Okay, consideration of deferred business, recreation grants. What's that? Was that the one we already dealt with tonight?
did it up
Yeah,
above,
we've
yeah.
already dealt with that one. So then we have community announcements. Does anybody have any community announcements this evening? Go ahead, Councilor Donnie Parker.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. There's a Community Appreciation Day taking place out at John's Country Canteen Saturday, July 12th. It's co-sponsored by the West River Fire Department, and they've got a huge group of things they do every year. It's a bouncy house, there's junior fire competition, fire department competition. It's a really good day, so if anybody wants to come, I think it's 12 to 4. And I invite anybody that's looking for a good time to come on out. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, I'm just gonna work my way up the table there, Councilor Bailey.
Thank you, Warden. Just a reminder that the Hector Big Splash is Saturday. Hopefully it does sail, and it's, I think it's gonna hit the water around 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock, yeah.
Yeah, hopefully that it makes it to the wharf.
As long as it's not too windy. They're all right for rain, but if there's too much wind, they have to put it out till the next day. Councilor Warden.
Okay, with that, on July the 11th at 1 o'clock, there's going to be a discussion there with Dr. Malcolm Bangor-Jones concerning the Scotland Fair. Well, why people left Scotland to come here to begin with. We know what they did once they got here, but it's to get the history of why they came here. So it should be a good discussion. If you can't be there in person, they're Zooming it online, so you can see it that way as well.
What day, what time was that again?
July the 11th at 1 o'clock.
Day before.
The day
launch,
before
yeah.
Friday, yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you. And Councilor McDonald.
Yeah, on Friday, July 18th, there's going to be an educational workshop on mineral exploration and development at the Kensieville Community Center from 10 to 2 p.m. This event is free and lunch is included, and I believe it's sponsored by the Federation of Nova Scotia Woodlot Owners. Thank you.
And that's at the Kensieville Hall.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, and Councilor Palmer.
Thank you, Warden. I just want to tell you, you all missed it. Took place yesterday. Thorburn District 13 Recreation Planning Commission opened its pavilion yesterday, had the grand opening, had games and food and beverage for the kids, and it went over really well. Everybody's very appreciative of the funding that we received from the New Horizons program, and it's a beautiful pavilion. So if you're ever on the Thorburn ball field, take a run over and have a look at it. Thanks.
Next time, tell us before it happens, not after. Okay, Deputy Warden.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. Annual, I think it's the 52nd Annual Pork Chop Barbecue of Scottsburn on July the 30th, which is the last Wednesday and 30th, so It's open for everybody to come and enjoy, and you can drive up and they pass it out to you, so you can just go on your way, or you can pick it up and then go to a picnic table and have a
Oh,
feed.
good, you can't eat there
Yeah,
now.
so,
Yeah.
okay,
A lot of
thank you.
people miss that part, you know, you couldn't eat there. Okay, I was gonna work along the table, where do I see the next, geez, no lights on this, there's an inactive roof over this side.
Quiet on this side.
Well, I'll mention one thing in Salem at the ball field, the old ball field, they now call it the Salem Area Recreation Association. They're having a musical day, I forget what it's called, music something or other, but on Sunday, July the 20th. And they have a band, and they have fiddlers, and they have all kinds of stuff going on, and there is an admission, I think it's $10 or whatever, but it's, there'll be lots of entertainment for a couple hours. So anybody that's in the area, stop in, you'll be welcome. Okay, what have we got left here? Motions of reconsideration. Anybody have any motions of reconsideration? Don't see any. Declare this meeting adjourned. Thank you all very much, and have a safe drive home.